the weekend, Bowe Bergdahl, who was the only American prisoner of war in our war in Afghanistan, was released. He's currently in a hospital in Germany, undergoing tests, making sure he's healthy. And this was a big deal. He was there since 2009. He was captured at the age of 23. And he was released after a deal was made with the Taliban to release 5 prisoners from Guantanamo Bay who were deemed, terrorists. And there should be a story about how America will do anything to make sure that its troops, Americans, the people who volunteer to go overseas to fight for this country, we will do anything to make sure that those people come home safely, regardless of what has to be done to make sure we get them home. And we did it. This should be a success story. A deal was made. This stuff happens. It has happened throughout history. Whenever there's a prisoner of war or someone being held captive, we do whatever we can to bring them home. And if this was maybe George Bush doing this, the right wing would be hailing this as a victory. But this happened under Barack Obama. And the party that says they love the troops more than anybody else are poo-pooing this. And it's sickening. Over the weekend, such lawmakers as Rep. Howard Buck McKeon of California, Buck McKeon, and Senator James Inhofe of Oklahoma, they're attacking Obama because apparently it is required by law to notify Congress 30 days before any terrorists are transferred from the U.S. facility. They said Obama is also required to explain how the threat posed by such terrorists has been substantially mitigated. The White House has said in response that it moved as quickly as possible, given the opportunity that arose to secure Bergdahl's release, citing these unique circumstances. McKeon and Inhofe warned that the exchange may have consequences for the rest of our forces and all Americans. Our terrorist adversaries now have a strong incentive to capture Americans. That incentive will put our forces in Afghanistan and around the world at even greater risk. They were the only Republicans to say something about this. John Bolton called the exchange despicable. It is despicable for a president of the United States to grant moral equivalence to these terrorists in Gitmo compared to an American service member. He said it's an unmistakable signal that we will pay any price to get the United States out, and that a signal is bad for Taliban and Al-Qaeda to hear and our adversaries around the world. Ted Cruz goes on TV and says, I do not think that the way to deal with terrorists is by releasing other violent terrorists. Can you imagine what he would say to his fallen comrades who lost their lives to stop these people who were responsible, either directly or indirectly, for threatening or taking U.S. civilian lives? Mike Rogers goes on, a Republican from Michigan, goes on TV, called the exchange a break with U.S. policy that could set a dangerous precedent for future kidnappings. Todd Starnes, Fox News contributor, was out there saying he's never seen an American president ever negotiate like this.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Iran-Contra, anyone?
That's not even a negotiation. That was just more like illegal collusion. Yeah. And Reagan didn't just negotiate. When the in Beirut, when that was blown up by Hezbollah, just left.
Yeah.
Just pieced it.
Senator John McCain, of all people.
Here we go.
Who was a prisoner in Vietnam. These are the hardest of hard people. Talking about the 5 people from Gitmo who were released. It is disturbing that these individuals would have the ability to re-enter the fight. What did we do to procure the release of Senator John McCain?
If they are the hardest of hard people, these Taliban guys should set up a pickup artist dating website. This is how you can be not a nice guy.
Right, but hold on, though, for a second.
Sorry.
You know what's particularly, to me, hilarious about these Republicans who are specifically saying, like McKeon and Inhofe, who are saying something like, oh, now that Obama traded these 5 Taliban guys who were in Guantanamo for Bergdahl, now terrorists know. They know that they can get this, so they'll start capturing American soldiers now. They have a plan of action now. Like if beforehand, if they had seen, an American soldier and he was within their range of being able to capture, they would have just been like, you know what, there's no reason to really capture him.
Kidnapping never really occurred to me before. I was always just, look, first put on suicide bed, blow it up, whatever, go for it. That's great. But kidnapping just seemed kind of like, the guy is walking along the path. Why am I going? I mean, just kind of a.
What am I going to get out of it?
What am I going to get? And it's also just sort of a dick move. I mean, to be honest, really. And then what do you get? He sits around. He eats your food. You have to host him. Maybe he wants to play badminton, so he stopped crying about not seeing his family or something. What are we getting from this?
It's incredible.
I love how my Taliban accent is a Apu accent.
Yeah, well,
I appreciate it.
It's. I mean, let's.
That is maybe the stupidest security assessment I've ever heard in my life on anything.
Now they know what to do.
That's like the equivalent of I drive better when I'm drunk.
I mean, really though, it's.
I can't wear a seatbelt. I can't maneuver as well when I'm driving my car.
Wait, you mean we can get something out of?
I never thought of kidnapping before. I mean, in the whole history of guerrilla warfare and terrorism, no one's done kidnapping. I mean, not just a total innovation. Because what happened was we see this guy, he's walking along. And I say, oh, look, it's a U.S. soldier. Let's leave him alone. It's only one. We do nothing, obviously, as usual. And then my friend is like, we should take him with us. And I said, to where? He goes, I don't know. Maybe we kidnap him like they do with the kids somewhere in California or something. I say, okay, whatever. You're crazy, man. You're smoking the hash. And then we do it first kidnapping ever. And now we get things.
It's the first one ever. Yeah, that's true. This has to be the first one ever. There's a history being made. Oh, man.